What's up, dudes? Welcome to the first video of my channel. My name is Hydroid, and I'm gonna make this primarily a Warframe channel. I might switch to a couple other things here and there. But yeah, the first Warframe I wanted to do, of course, is Hydroid. I've been a Hydroid main for, I believe, since like 2017 or something like that. Even when he had his puddle ability, a lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was cute. It basically went down to the depths of the sea, regained my shields, came back up, and started fighting again. Um, but I do love this new plunder ability. I wish it had a little bit of tweaks here and there. We'll talk about that a little bit, but yeah. Um, I wanted to make Hydroid first because obviously I'm a Hydroid main. You can take a look at my hours, how many kills I've had with him. Yeah, Hydroid main, 100,000 kills. Defo is one of my favorite weapons, great for arbitrations. Sometimes you can't see those little drones, so just aiming down a hallway, you'll get rid of it eventually. Aquacore, a lot of people's secondary favorite, and Korum gives you that whole Poseidon feel. Yeah, I played him for a very long time. I wanted to talk about Hydroid and some of his synergies he has with some of, especially new helmets. I see a lot of people using Roar, using your typical Null builds on him, and they're great. I love them, but sometimes it just doesn't fit the theme. I've also seen Breach Search, which kind of piqued my interest, but the whole radiation and God of the Sea type of thing didn't really fit the theme. Again, it's a very strong helmet to use on Hydroid, but for me, I personally didn't like it, and that's okay. There's people with different tastes. I see some people love it because it looks like rain and stuff. So, without further ado, let's just talk about his abilities. So, he also has a passive. Um, on the first initial stack of corrosive, he's going to reduce your armor by 50%. And I'm just going to go quick through these abilities, that way we can get to the actual builds of them. Tempest Barrage rains Hellfire on them, staggers them a little bit, yeah, for the most part. Oh, this is good for quick casting abilities, that way you can get your shields up, and I'll show you how in a bit. But yeah, really good ability to have. Tidal Surge, good iframes, good travel ability. I usually use this ability in capture type missions, sabotage missions. I love it. I'll show you how to traverse with it probably a little later. Plunder is the new ability that they added to Hydroid. Amazing ability. Whatever armor, whatever corrosive stacks you have on the enemies, you can basically plunder their armor, get some for yourself, and on top of that, it gives you extra corrosive damage. I love this ability. It affects all of your weapons, and I'll show you how you can have a couple little synergies for this. I wish they tweaked this ability a little bit. Not really the ability, but so there's a mod that comes with it, and I'll talk about that a little later. Tentacle Swarms summons a kraken from the depths of the ocean, and you get up to 20 tentacles that can basically CC enemies. I love this ability. It's a little slow, but you can make it work somehow. And I'll show you a couple synergies that this has with some abilities. Yeah, so good Warframe. I loved it. This took me through regular path. It took me through steel path, and yeah, I like playing EDA and ETA with this Warframe, and that was the problem that I had a bit with a lot of other Hydroid videos, is that you see them jumping around trying to build up their shields. I'm not a big I'm not a big fan of jumping around all the time. So these builds make it a little bit easier. Yeah, so without further ado, let's just go to the builds. This was my original build. So as you can see, I have Arcane Energize that gives you increased energy pickup on a certain times, up to 150. It has a cooldown of 15 seconds. Arcane Barrier is about my shields take damage, I instantly restore them. This, you can kind of switch back and forth. I'll show you why in a bit. Okay, so let's talk about the mods. First of all, Brief Respite, good for casting abilities, gives you shields when they go down. This is great with both Tempest Barrage and Tidal Surge because they're very quick acting abilities. Yeah, no, they're great. I have I have catalyzing shields, basically bring my shields down. The problem with Hydroid is he's not really a shield main. I have him more. I like playing him as an armor tank, and so kind of relying on his shields like that just doesn't really. I'm not a big fan of it. So yeah, I use catalyzing shields to bring his shields as low as possible, and then that way, if my shields go down, I can get use Tempest Barrage, Tidal Surge, and that basically gives me 1.3 seconds of immunity when my shield goes down. It actually works really well. Usually, most of the time, I have no problem. The only thing that gives me problems are usually eczemas, but again, you can go ahead and replace Preparation for something like Prime Sure-Footed, which is this one. 100% resist to knockdown. It's just your preference. I usually prefer Preparation. This original build is usually for capture missions or sabotage missions, mainly because I'm just trying to get to the target, kill him, and then get to the exit as fast as possible. That's another reason why I have Tidal Impunity. It makes my Tidal Surge cost a lot less, and with Preparation, I'm pretty much using Tidal Surge the entire time in those types of missions. Equilibrium to get my health up, to get my energy up. Prime duration 200, I believe. I've tried different types with like 240. I think 200 is perfect where it is. Range is 145, so I have stretch to for it. You don't want to use any more than that. Especially when it comes to the tentacle swarm. I would honestly say 130 would be good. So if you want to keep this maybe a little lower, but 145, I think is pushing it too far. The tentacles go all over the place, and it's kind of hard to keep track of the enemies. Although even without it, it's okay. There's certain maps that I've noticed that 100% range just doesn't get you far enough. Um, I have blind rage, I have unbow intensity, and that's to increase my strength for plunder, mainly for plunder. That way I can get more armor when I cast it and more shields. Now he does have a helmet, not a helmet, but a mod for plunder called Rousing Plunder. Gains 50% max corrosive damage and armor, heals allies with an affinity range for 50 health. I like this mod. I wish they tweaked it a little bit. Um, the armor increase, the corrosive increase, like that's great. I love it. And if I could, I would change this for title impunity. The problem is that when it comes to plunder, recasting it, if there's no enemies, it you're gonna have very little armor, very little damage, and because he's mainly corrosive and your weapons are so strong, by the time you get to cast this again, there's usually no enemies around, or by the time you need to cast this again, because your plunder's about to run out, there's no enemies in sight. I would like this more like Chroma's ability, where if you just recast it, it keeps the amount that you have already, and that gives you the option to either just let it run out, it's still not a long time, or just go ahead and keep the status you have, the the perks that you have, armor, your bonus armor and your bonus damage. When it comes to rousing plunder, again, the biggest fall isn't even the damage. Like I don't care much about damage, but I would like more sustainability. This ability also does cost about 116, so 116 energy. So casting that over and over again just to heal yourself is not really beneficial. I wish this had more like of a percentage increase, where the duration that the ability lasts, you get maybe like 1 or 2% health increase per enemy that you kill. And I think that would be great. I would love it. It would add to the whole like Hydroid being armor tank main instead of a shield gating Warframe. But yeah, please D, if you're hearing this, if you think that idea is great, even 1% would be better than this because, like I said, his abilities just cost too much. Yeah. So this is my original build, again, used for sabotage and capture. Now I'm going to go to one of my favorite builds, and this is usually the build that I main in EDA, ETA, yeah, and I'll show you some of the synergies that it has a little later. So this is my Null Star build. You can see that I replaced this 4 with Null Star, and I love it because it gives me more damage reduction. It increased my damage reduction up to 75 with adaptation and the bonus armor that I get from Plunder. You're looking at I believe like 150,000, 110, 50,000 EHP. It's really great. You still have the brief respite for a little bit of shield gating, but I don't really focus on shield gating on this build at all. This does take me through EDA and ETA. I've used it several times. I love it. Again, just switch preparation for prime sure-footed. But yeah, this is the build that I like to use for the most part. It still keeps my title surge. That way I can traverse across the maps without any issue. So, Null Star, it's good for damage reduction, and on top of that, it shoots out little particles when enemies are close by. You don't want good range on this one. I don't do anything to my range. I have it at 100, and that's because you don't really want the Null Stars going away. On top of it, when you reactivate it with one of his mods, which is this one, I'll talk about this in a little bit. It shoots out, and it looks like about double the range. It shoots out at the enemies at double the range, so you don't really gotta focus anything on range. It's not really built for that. Yeah, so Null Star is the mod that it comes with, is the augment, and it basically gives it heat on top of the blast that it already has. And again, you can cast it again once you cast it the first time, and it shoots out with double the range, roughly double the range. Equilibrium, flow, prime continuity, blind rage. I mean, I wish I could have more strength on it. With blind rage and augmented, it's already enough. I have arcane arachne because arcane arachne actually affects Null Star. It counts as a weapon as a weapon. So yeah, it increases the damage, and it does quite a bit of damage. Because it also releases heat, that's the reason why I have Archon Vitality. And what a lot of people don't know is that because Null Star counts as a weapon, Plunder also affects it. And that's what caught my attention to this ability. Again, I always love abilities that have synergies with the original Warframe, and please do not take this away. I love it. I love the way it works. It's not overpowered or anything. I usually get less kills than a lot of people, but it is just good sustainability in EDA, ETA type of missions, and walking around and giving enemies corrosive. That way at least I can keep my plunder sustained a little bit. It doesn't make my recasting feel as bad. Yeah, I love it. Like, a lot of people didn't know about this, so yeah, here, let me go ahead and show you. So I have the enemy set out already. I'll go ahead and cast Tempest Barrage out here. Go ahead and cast this. And as you can see, none of these have corrosive. I go ahead and cast Null Star, and you can see the stars procking for corrosive. I believe the most they can proc is about 5. Oh, no, they have 6. Yeah, so this procs corrosive. It's good to walk around. Once my ability runs out, I can just stack it again. And like I said, great synergy. Love this ability. It makes it stronger. Okay. So it's one of my favorite things. Go ahead and latch on. So that's basically how it works for the most part. Here, I'll go ahead and cast my enemies again, that way I can show you the next one. Again, great synergy, great ability. I haven't seen many people use Null Star on Hydroid, and I don't know why. I would have thought somebody figured it out by now. Um, they they figured it out with Grendel. They could either way. Yeah, this is one of my favorite builds. I kept this one a secret for the longest time, and yeah. Now with the new update that came out, they came out with a new ability for Warframe called Tempest, called Temple, called Pyrotechnics, and this ability, great synergy with Hydroid again. Um, it summons fire from the bottom, and with the blue aura that I have from Hydroid, I almost imagine it like scalding water, and that's why it gives enemies a burning ability. So it kind of fits the theme. It's fire, the complete opposite of Hydroid, but hey, whatever. It's a quick casting ability, very quick casting, just like Tempest Barrage. So I added Catalyzing Shield into this build compared to my No Start build, which is more um, health tank focused. This one's going to be more shield tanking focused. It's going to use Catalyzing Shields to give me that 1.3 shield gating immunity. Again, Arcane Vitality because it doubles on the heat procs here. Now, even with the heat procs, actually, wait up. Let me go back. So again, Arcane Arachne because this kind of counts as a weapon. It gets um, its damage amplified by Arcane Arachne. I wish, because it does count as a weapon, that Plunder would work on this. But hey, it's okay. It's still a great ability so far. But because this counts as a weapon, I just don't see why, if it counts as a weapon, why Plunder wouldn't work on this one. I think the synergy would be great. It would skyrocket Hydroid to being a reason of being a very, very survivable Warframe. Um, Prime Flow, Prime Continuity. Now there is a arcane called the Arcane Battery, which usually with his Plunder gives you more energy than Prime Flow. However, I'm not a big fan of it. Like I said, Hydroid is so strong with his plunder that a lot of the times the enemies die before you can plunder them, or your partners kill them without knowing that you have to plunder them. So this ability again, it's really good to have, but sometimes relying on it, especially for energy, like I had a tough time. I prefer using Flow, even though Arcane Battery gives you more energy. Flow is just very consistent. Equilibrium for more energy. This is going to be a very heavy casted focused build. So I have both Equilibrium and Arcane Energize to basically keep my energy up at all times. Brief Respite for the shield gating. Again, this is one that I've taken to EDA, ETA, and I haven't had too much problem. I've taken this to what else have I taken? I've taken it to EDA, ETA, and Netrocells. I've done Netrocells with both of these builds by just Hydroid itself. Yeah, and they work really well. I love it. I also have a Zara build. It's just weapons. You can go ahead and have a look at that. Again, not my favorite build. I rarely use this, but it's kind of cool seeing the extra damage get done to the enemies, and yeah, catalyzing shield. So I use this mainly for iframes, to give me iframes with Tidal Surge, and to basically shield gate with Tidal Surge and Tempest Barrage. And this is my Nourish build. Basically the same thing, just yeah. Okay, so I completely forgot about Pyrotechnics. Yeah, so like I said, I wish Plunder worked on Pyrotechnics, but the cool thing about this ability, so I already summoned them. So Pyrotechnics, when you cast it, it's gonna give a heat proc to the enemies. On top of that, if you have Archon Vitality, it's gonna give you 2. So you can see it. Wrong one, my bad. Either way, you can probably still see it. So I'll go ahead and cast it. Yeah, so you can see 2 heat procs on the enemy, and that's usually about how much it gives you. There are statuses that ragdoll and basically can have you inflict more heat procs on it. Took me a while to figure it out, but tentacle swarm works as a ragdoll. So if you go ahead and look at the enemy, which one is burnt? Oh, let me cast it again. Yeah. So that counts as a ragdoll ability. I didn't know that. It took me a while to figure that out. Why are there enemies down on the floor? Warframe be glitching sometimes. So let's see if you can see this. Yep, 30 heat procs. And that's because every body ring counts as a separate target. So every body part gets hit with 2 heat procs, and then that's basically amplified between 30. I've seen as high as 60. So yeah, it's very random, but again, because it gets upgraded by, it gets its strength increased by latching under walls. You can see the damage gets really crazy. Tentacle Swarm has been one of those abilities that a lot of people like, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. It's not really used for much, so having Pyrotechnics work with this is just so cool. I love it. And again, it's like water spouts coming out of the ground. I almost imagine like scalding water, so yeah, it fits the theme. It synergizes very well with Tentacle Swarm, and that's why I love it. Yeah, so I really hope you guys enjoy these 2 builds. I've had them for probably like a couple months now. This one I came up with it as soon as Pyrotechnics came out, and yeah, I love it. And so I'm surprised nobody found both of these. Maybe they did and they were just trying to keep it a secret, but I decided to make this video just because like the entire time I was like, I can't believe no one has found these synergies with Hydroid. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you some gameplay. I'll probably go ahead and use Moat just because that gives me the most enemies. I can take and do Nether Cells, but it takes so long just to get to the end, and it's kind of annoying. So, but it'll work the same way. You don't have to worry about like dying. For the most part, you'll see how both sustain damage and both and how the other one uses shield gating to survive. You'll see why you don't have to worry in Nether Cells or EDA or ETA for that matter. Yeah, so let's take you to the game.
Prepare for life support. Delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy you more time. support incoming. Another life support capsule is now available. I'm sending auxiliary life support. Life support on the way. I've delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy you more time. Prepare for life support. Additional life support has arrived.
Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. Like I said, pretty cool synergies, pretty cool, like pretty easy sustainability, survivability. That's why Hydroid's one of my favorite ones. Before I leave, I almost forgot to show you my build. I almost forgot to show you the weapons that I have and the builds for it. So this is my Cotabassis, similar to Steflo, so this became one of my new favorite weapons. It's a little bit stronger, so it's easier for killing acolytes and necromechs. This is what I have for it. I'm running blast and magnetic and electricity. This is my aqua build. I do have a ribbon for it, but not really necessary. If I was to switch this for something, it'd be damage or cold, whichever would work for you. And then my crew, my favorite build. This is it. I have healing return to heal me a little bit just in case I do get too low on health and that for some reason I can't find extra health orbs. And then Karoom. This ribbon didn't even cost me too much. I think I got it for like 10 or 20 plat. And then I just rolled for it using Kuva. Yeah, and that's what I do with a lot of. I have a lot of ribbons, but I usually mainly buy cheap ones and then go ahead and use my Kuva until I get something that I can make work. Yeah. My Nautilus build. Now this works really well with the Null Star. The Null Star build. It works a little bit. It works decently with the Pyrotechnics, but this is mainly meant for my Null Star build. Manifold Bond gives you cooldown on for 3 seconds every time you kill an enemy with 3 or more unique abilities, statuses, and with Null Star giving you blast and heat, and when you have Plunder on, you're getting the extra corrosive. This is usually cooling down your abilities pretty consistently. That allows you to use Cordon over and over again. Momentous Bond, that way if Nautilus decides to go down, hunt down 2 Eximus, boom, he'll come right back up. Sentis Construct for extra health orbs, and then Duplex Bond and Contagious Bond, just to kind of help spread the statuses around. And then I have my Burglass. Again, I do have a Riven, but if I was to switch this Riven for something, it'd probably be just status. Probably thermite rounds just to help the fire up, heat proc increase. Yeah, so that'll be it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys can please like and subscribe to my channel. Leave any comments if you guys what you guys think of the video, any types of improvements I could make, or if you guys are interested in other types of Warframes. I do have some favorite builds that I like. That way you guys can have a look at. Maybe you guys are curious about what kind of builds I have. Those are some of my favorite ones, and then the bottom ones are the ones I'm still kind of working on. I don't have any Archon shards on these, so all the ones I have favorites on, I've pretty much fully built up all the way, even with the Archon shards. So yeah. I'll also be making a Patreon. That way, if you guys like my videos, you guys want to help and support to the cause, it would be very much appreciated. Yeah. So I'll catch you guys next time, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Bye bye.